Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Jaramillo from the Moneris Mosaic team, and I'm excited to be here with Cass McPhee from our risk team, and who also happens to be the voice from some of our amazing programs at Moneris. Thank you so much for chatting with me today, Cass.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So, as I'm sure many of us are curious to know more, tell us a bit about your background and how you got started doing voice work at Moneris.
So I moved to Toronto in 2011 to go to comedy school. That was my excuse to move to the big city. I really flourished there. I enjoyed my time a lot. I built some really amazing skills, but I also learned that as a main career, comedy just doesn't guarantee a steady paycheck, and it's just something that is really important to my mental health and my happiness. So I decided to fall back on my customer service roots just to make sure I could get a job, a 9 to 5, where I could get started, but grow into some different roles because I was a little done with customer service. And I put my comedy degree and voice acting on my resume because I think it shows my range, it shows my adaptability, and they brought it up in my interview as something that they needed, a quick voice to put on the phone system if there was, say, a system outage that they wanted to warn people about before they wait in the queue. And because I speak French, I could cover that angle as well. So that's where I started. But I started getting asked to do other things like voiceovers for training videos and now ads for our podcasts.
I really love that you included your comedy experience as part of your application. I think it's so unique and it really demonstrates who you are more holistically. I find that often candidates can be nervous of sharing their skills or passions that they can consider maybe not to be very corporate, either due to fear of being screened out or thinking that it's not really transferable. But I'm so glad that you shared that piece of your career story with us and that there has been an opportunity to use those amazing skills. Now, Cass, did you experience any challenges with authenticity and feeling like you could bring more of yourself at work when you first came aboard?
It's funny you mentioned that because even though I wasn't scared at all to put my comedy and voice acting on my resume, I did not put my pronouns on it or say anything about being transgender. I think, especially in 2015, it was something that was getting a little bit more well known in the general public. But I think I was worried that it would be the hurdle that would make someone pass me over. Like, oh, this is too complicated. I don't want to deal with this. I don't think I ever misgendered myself at work, but I just let people use the wrong pronouns for me and assume my gender. I just was one person at home and somebody else at work. And I think in my first few years here, one person asked my pronouns at a work party. And in that moment, I was just like, wow, this person actually wants to know me and get me right. And it felt really good. Honestly, related to that, that's part of why I was hesitant to pursue voice acting as a primary career because even though I really love doing it, it's such a strongly gendered field. Auditions will call for male voice or female voice. And I'm just like, what about my voice?
And it's such a great voice. It really saddens me to hear that that was your experience, though, that you had to question if and where you belonged. I do also think that this kind of masking and filtering of self is a common experience from people from the 2S LGBTQIA plus community, and hopefully something that we're shifting away from. I'm also really glad to hear, though, that you found an ally and someone that made you feel seen in that moment. It really reminds me of just how important it is to ask people how they would like to be addressed and engage in those micro acts of allyship and support. So I know that you have been with Moneris for 8 years now this month. In that time, tell me, how have you seen the organization and the world of work change and evolve?
I think there was a really big shift in 2020, pretty broadly in Canada and a lot of places, where we started realizing kind of collectively how much work needed to be done to protect people who deserve equity. Honestly, that's what made me decide to come out at work and to start working on that. It wasn't to make me feel more comfortable. It was because I realized that other people might not feel comfortable. And if I did that work of opening that door, maybe the person who comes after me won't feel like I did, looking at their resume and going, should I put my pronouns on here or avoid talking about being trans? When I came out, I did get a huge amount of support, which was really great to see. Even though Moneris had a lot of work ahead to really dig in, right from the beginning, it was like, hey, we want to get there and we want you to be a part of helping us to get there. Um, and I'm really glad and really proud that my voice is on our podcasts talking to our merchants because I think I'm a great voice for that because I'm genuine, I'm upbeat, I'm professional and personable. None of these things have anything to do with the pronouns I use.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you get to represent us too. And especially that for many, you are now that voice that maybe you wish you would have seen and that could have served as an inspiration for you when you first got started. I know that we're really grateful to have your experiences as a comedian, a voice actor, as a trans person, and just as an all around amazing team member. Now, on that same note, do you happen to have any tips or words of wisdom for people from the 2S LGBTQIA plus community? And what about allies and corporate leaders so that we can continue creating a more equitable and inclusive space at work?
For allies and corporate leaders, I would say give people your pronouns when you're meeting them in your email signature, start of meetings. Even if nobody else has done it, if you do it, for someone like me, the relief I feel when a person in a leadership position just makes their pronouns a normal part of their greeting, it's like, hey, this door is open. You're welcome here. And I think it's small, consistent things like that that are going to keep us grounded in this work. It's not about the grand gestures, it's the day to day. And as for people in the 2S LGBTQIA plus community, you're amazing. Please keep being who you are. And I'm just glad you're here.
That's such great advice, Cass. I'm so glad that we've also been able to enable some of that as an organization through something like the Pronouns Practice drop-in session that is ran by the PRISM Employee Inclusion Group that you're part of, as well as through the recent enablement of the Microsoft Pronouns feature by our tech team. And I'm sure that we will continue learning and growing with you in this space. Thank you so much for sharing your story with the Menares Mosaic, Cass. I have no doubts that it will resonate with many and that it will inspire others to be more authentic and also maybe more intentional about creating inclusive environments.
It's been my absolute pleasure.